What is the best country to live in? Everyone who's saying New Zealand have not lived here or are rich. The price of living is an absolute joke here. Reading from these comments, it seems there's truly no better country. It really just depends on what tickles your fancy. Of course, I don't see Burkina Faso anywhere. Whichever country that has women that find me attractive. Kazakhstan, greatest country in the world. All other countries are run by little girls. Kazakhstan, #1 exporter of potassium. Other countries have inferior potassium. Very nice. Any developed country in a 2-income, middle-class household, to be honest. Once countries reach a certain level of development, GDP ceases to mean so much, and only a small proportion of people globally live in developed countries, so it would be improper to be too choosy. Of course, objectively, some countries are better to live in than others. Denmark and Romania are both high-income countries, but I'd obviously prefer to live in the former, so long as I am integrated, which is another consideration to think about. People saying Switzerland etc. probably don't realize that most immigrants there will never be seen as Swiss. Integration is difficult, and citizenship is hard to come by. I've been living in Denmark for 3 years, and the integration part is so true. The country is great, except for the weather, but only if you're Dane or integrated. Without fluency in Danish, which is an extremely difficult language to learn, you likely won't find a proper job, and sometimes even that won't be enough, because you'll still be an immigrant. Andorra, a tiny principality between Spain and France that most people haven't heard of. High quality of services, one of the best life expectancies in the world, low tax, amazing mountains and leisure activities on your doorstep, hot in summer and snowy in winter, and only 2 hours from major cities and airports. I drove once with my kid from our home in Switzerland to go skiing in Andorra. We absolutely loved it. Great and kinda trippy place, what with the duty-free aspect. Our hotel was right on the piste 6 stories up. You skied across a bridge right into the building. Take your skis off at the elevator, push a button and you are in the posh reception. So kick butt. Finland has the highest consumption of Pepsi Zero in the world. Finland has the second highest consumption of comic books behind only Japan. Finland has the third highest consumption of tacos behind only Mexico and the US, the latter of which is way bigger than Finland. 1 in 10 people in Finland are in a metal band. I'm not saying it's objectively Finland, but the place definitely seems like a party. There is no best country to live in. They all have pros and cons. There is a list of about 20 countries that are near the top, and they are all interchangeable depending on what is more important to you. Australian, who has lived in 6 countries. This is the correct answer. Personally, for me, the best place I ever lived was Scotland. I literally cry when I think about it sometimes, but every place has positives and negatives. Personally, I would love to live in Norway, Canada, Denmark, Finland, or Sweden, if the Scandinavian countries weren't so hard to get in, that is. As a Canadian who has lived in Denmark, I can tell you that Canada is insanely expensive and does not have anywhere near the robust social system of Denmark or and of Scandinavia. But I can say that Canada is easier to integrate into. Coming from a guy who lived in multiple countries, the Netherlands. Pretty much everybody speaks English almost fluently, and that's what sets us apart from countries like Germany, France, Belgium, and Spain. Those countries are known to have large populations of people who only speak German, or only French, or only Spanish. The Dutch, many of them speak basic German and most are fluent in English. Most will have learned basic French in high school, and some will have learned basic Spanish in school, too. I'm from there and I'm fluent in 3 languages and can handle myself decently well in Spanish, and I'm learning Russian. Just prepping for the inevitable invasion. Many international companies are here. Booking, Uber, Facebook Meter, and many others. It's an important hub for Europe. It has amazing internet connectivity, awesome public transport, even though we complain about it. Mandated national health insurance that is affordable and covers pretty much everything. A good and healthy political climate, as much as you can have that in any democracy. Affordable schooling. 25+ paid days off per year. How many people go bankrupt due to medical costs? Nobody. Long answer. LOL. Nobody. We import prisoners from other countries because we have to close our prisons due to a lack of prisoners. Guess how many for-profit prisons we have? None. Correct. We did not reinvent slavery. Also, you're in the center of Europe a little to the left. Granted, but centrally located still. And to get anywhere in Europe is just a 2-hour flight at worst, give or take. Want to spend the weekend in Greece? Go for it. You'll leave in the morning and arrive in the afternoon. Spain? Ditto. Norway? You got it. The UK? Bring a passport. Poland? Why not? Germany? Belgium? Take a train instead. Go to Paris? Take a high-speed train and you'll be there in a few hours. Our roads are well maintained. Our streets are safe. Parks are clean. Homelessness is a choice. There's a grocery store at walking distance from your home almost anywhere you live. Oh, and we actually have sidewalks to walk on pretty much everywhere. Did I mention bicycles? We're a flat country. Hardly any hills to speak of, and our bicycles don't share high-speed roads with cars. We get dedicated bicycling lanes almost everywhere. Mass shootings and school shootings never happen. Our taxes are slightly higher than in the USA, but for that, we get everything I mentioned above and more. HMMMMM. I'm convinced as a US citizen. New Zealand is pretty amazing, but living there can be very isolating for expats. And it's expensive as frick. Norway is a great country to live in when it comes to safety in terms of both crime and healthcare. It has wonderful nature, of which you have easy access to throughout the entire country. That said, while we have high wages and standard of living, we also it can be costly in terms of taxes, both income and on products. Also, the weather isn't great and wintertime can be harsh for some people, not only due to the weather but also due to limited daylight. And, having traveled to close to 30 countries, our cities aren't all that. So, if you're not a nature buff and prefer urban living, you may be disappointed with our cities. I find our cities boring in comparison to countries with bigger metropolitan areas. It's so dark. I miss the midnight sun. There can be no single answer because we all value and prioritize different things. Someone like me who loves the outdoors will thrive in New Zealand, but someone who values access to pop culture events or fashion would find it remote and provincial. We each have to choose what trade-offs we are willing to make. Yet I think the better question is, if you could live in any country and feel integrated, which country would it be and why, so we could see all the cool reasons why people want to live in that country, which is what I was hoping to see. There are a few that end in land that I think of them as the best places on earth. Finland, Iceland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Switzerland, New Zealand, England, Scotland. Every country has its up and down sides. I live in New Zealand and personally I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. For all its faults, I love my country. I wouldn't call it the best country to live in, but a personal favorite of mine. Although I'd strongly advise against moving there now with all that's going on. I really love Taiwan though. I am a little biased because that is my mom's home country, but everything is so convenient and I have family that lives there. I would imagine Japan being very similar, but it's very cheap to live in Taiwan. From an American standpoint, there are underground markets, easy train and bus systems, night markets, and drugstores everywhere. It's really easy to travel without a car, and I enjoyed the convenience of being able to get most places just by walking. Again, probably wouldn't move there now with the situation with China, but it really is my favorite place out of the 42 countries I've been to. Plus Taiwan has a great healthcare system and is super safe. Also, in terms of COVID, I'd argue Taiwan is one of the best places to be right now. The best country is the one that you consider your home. After all, only there you can feel truly happy. Since I am from Russia, I can list quite a lot of its advantages. So does anyone who lives in the country he loves. I'd like to hear the positives. We hear a lot of negatives in Western media, but it always seems like an interesting place. America. Anyone? Personally, I love it here. I know there's pros and cons, but I have never once thought I can't wait to get out of this country permanently. Well, as a Canadian who's sick of snow and cold, I'd say as far south as it takes to get a beautiful summer day every day. As somebody from Southwest US, try to find a middle ground. Not Hungary for sure, proof. I live there. People are butthole. There are a lot of gypsies, and they harass people. The economy is collapsing. If you can buy something for a 100 euros in Germany, it will be more than a 150 in Hungary. The salaries are low, and the school system is one of the worst in the whole world. Australia is up there. I know it's going through a bit of a crap show right now, but I lived there for years, earned really good money and had a sublime work-life balance. Copious amounts of sunshine and $30 an hour does wonders for your mental health. I live in the UK and all in all it feels a good all-round package. Not without its drawbacks of course, but free healthcare, decent worker rights and laws, strong economy in general. You'll always be somewhat okay for work and support if you're not. Interesting history and culture. Weather not the best but by no means the worst, and almost zero risk of natural disaster. I think the only animal that can really kill you is an adder snake, which is pretty rare. Beautiful places to visit in the UK, and you're never much further than an hour from a beach, along with places of huge historical significance. Pubs are great. The location is great for traveling around Europe, and flights to the rest of the world are easily accessible. As long as you are rich you can make a good living on most of the countries, and if you are poor it's gonna be a struggle wherever you go. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.